This video is going to have a look at filing electronically a T2 with a web access code. You can file a T2 tax return using your CRA supplied e-file number and password, but you can also file a T2 return with a web access code that's supplied by CRA. And there's the ability to request a WAC while filing, so you don't need to get a WAC beforehand. We're going to look at the second two there, the web access code filing. You can get more information about the web access code and how to request one from a CRA website. I just type in CRA requesting a web access code in a search in Google, and it brings up this link and other links that are helpful. You can call and get a web access code, so I just want to mention that. And let's go on to a demonstration on how to file with a web access code. I'm in a T2 return. You should complete the return, check the auditor, make sure it's eligible. It's not eligible here because I got messages, so I don't file by mistake. So let's see what happens here. If I go to e-file, transmit return, I get this. It's a check mark. So that means ProFile's built a return and can send it to CRA. If I press OK, there's the warnings that come up for the CO17. Now I've got this here. I wanted to show this because it's a little confusing here depending on your display and what kind of settings you have for your display. So there's three options here, and if I click here in the middle, I can see what happens. This will function properly. It's just this way because of the settings for your display. So these are the options. There's e-file, which I can't do because there's no e-file number. I want to request a web access code and file the return. And if I already have a web access code, I can enter it here. Again, it's not necessarily very user-friendly depending on the display settings, and I can just type in. It's kind of hard to see here, but the web access code that you have from CRA, it's for filing for the T2. It should be 8 numbers. So if you have a web access code that's numbers and letters, you won't be able to use that. You'll find you can't enter letters here. It has to be all numbers. So for filing a T2, the web access code is all numbers. And then if I accept, ProFile will send the return to CRA. This is a return that's a test, so I definitely want to decline this and not send it. Let's go back now and look at e-file, transmit. Again, green check mark means it's built a return that can be sent to CRA. If I click the middle here, all this information has to be here. And once it's there, you'll get the accept. What happens is the web access code is generated while the return is transmitting. So you don't need to request it and then file. You don't have to wait. If you click this one, I want to request a web access code and file this return. You just click that, make sure all the information's entered, and accept, and it'll file a return to CRA. Again, I'll decline. Last thing I want to show here is I prepared a T1135, so I'm going to e-file that. If I click e-file the T1135, it brings up the e-file wizard. I cannot file the T1135 with the web access code. You have to have an e-file number. So you would have to mail it or upload it to my business account. And that's it for filing with a WAC. That's how to file the federal return. Some people also have to file CO17 to Quebec and/or an AT1 to Alberta. To the next slide here. Revenue Quebec has an account that enterprises can get. It's called Click Review in ProFile. And I've got a reference here to a Quebec website. I suspect a lot of people who file the CO17 already have the required credentials. This is a Google translation. The website is in French, and I just put this information here. Oh, let's go look at ProFile and see what the filing the CO17 looks like. Okay, back to the e-file window, e-file menu item. I have the file, internet file, the CO17. So I click on that. I've got the warnings. You can't have these warnings when you file, but doing that just to make sure I don't file return accidentally. Now what happens here is pops up the e-file window, and it gives you a place to enter the information from MRQ. We call it click review here. I showed the other slide. It's a newer term now. And if I click next, finish. So I didn't resolve the audit messages, so it won't file. If the return is error-free or warning message free, the next step would be to build it and then send it. I just want to look here now. If I go to the e-file menu, options, CO17, once I put the information in that e-file wizard, it posts it here. You might not want that if you're just filing one return and you got it done, you filed, because this is, your account information with MRQ. You might want to go here and delete it after filing, and I'll press OK. And that's filing the CO17. What if I need to file an AT1? Let's go look and see how you do that in ProFile. I'm back in ProFile. I just want to show a couple of things to set up here. If I go to e-file options, there's a place to enter information about third-party providers. The other thing is that on the EDI schedule, there's contact information. This has to be entered for all AT1 filers. Once you've got the setup work done, it's easy. You just click e-file, not file this AT1, and that'll get you on the way to filing. No Alberta credentials are required here. And that's filing T2 returns without CRA e-file credentials. Hope you found this useful. For more support options, you can go to our website. It's profile.intuit.ca.